Good evening and welcome to the Lower Providence Township Zoning Hearing Board meeting of August 25th. At this time, if we could all stand, please, and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you would take the roll for us, please.
Ms. Cluley.
Here.
Ms. Esky. Here. Mr. Pucci is absent. Mr. Hart.
Here.
Ms. Hager.
Here.
Ms. Alzamora.
Here.
Mr. Berquist is absent.
Thank you. And Paula Mazzaros is our court recorder tonight, and Michael Merzinski is our code enforcement director of, and we welcome John Rule Esquire this evening, who will be leading our meeting in Keith's absence. Thank you. John?
I believe the first item that comes before,
Just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to
Yes.
get into the continuance.
Kathy needs to read our official
The zoning
statement.
hearing board will give all interested parties the opportunity to ask questions and testify in connection with the application being heard tonight. If a witness for the application completes testimony, you will be given an opportunity to ask questions of the witness. In addition, after the applicant has completed his case, you will also be given an opportunity to testify, which will require you to be sworn in as a witness. If you wish to participate in the hearing on the application, you should complete an entry of appearance form, which will be provided to you by the zoning hearing officer sitting at the table to my left, your right. We're asking your cooperation in maintaining silence during the hearing so both the board and the court recorder can hear the testimony of the witness. We also ask that you silence your cell phones. Now it's your turn.
Thank you.
One item that was initially on the agenda tonight was the application from CarVision. We have received a request from their solicitor for a continuance to the next meeting. So it would be appropriate to entertain a resolution to grant the continuance or to accept the continuance request, and then we can move past that item on the agenda tonight.
And John, did they understand that if there's any costs associated with re-advertising, that they will bear those costs?
They do understand that, yes.
Okay, fine. Do I have a motion for that resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Gail?
To continue till next month.
For one more month?
Correct.
For CarVision.
Yes. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Ayes have it. Okay, moving along.
That brings us to the only other item, I believe, tonight, the application, Louis Gambone, and we would like to proceed.
Since they have already been sworn in, and since this is just a continuation of our meeting of last month, there's no need for that. Is that correct, Mike? This is just, it's an open record?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Creveling, welcome.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Just a brief follow-up based on our meeting last month. I'm sure everyone's pretty familiar. What I wanted to do sort of quickly was go down the list in the ordinance.
I have a question first. Is that a new picture? Something we've not looked at before?
Yes, and
Okay.
I have copies for,
Do we need to enter that into the record at this time, or? since it's
We
new?
probably should mark it.
Right, it needs to be marked.
Do we know what we were up to the last time? Applicant?
we had no, I'm sorry, we did not have any
Okay, so it's all board,
exhibits.
okay,
Yeah,
so
it was all board.
this would be A1.
Yeah, we had two exhibits.
Oh, the plans.
We had plans, yes. So,
And the application itself.
and the application would be Exhibit 1,
Yeah.
and then we had two plans. So,
Okay.
2, 3, so this would be 4.
4.
but, yeah. Because this was something we had discussed last month, correct, as far as looking at the sight lines for the new bridge?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and we brought some photos along with us. How about, since we're all intrigued by the photos, let's look at those presently. As you can see here, the first photo that we have, I labeled it the view when entering the driveway. And when you pull in off of Level Road, this is what you see. And what I wanted to make sure that everyone could feel and not touch, but get a sense of, is you can see how much lower the property is below Level Road. And I'm sure since you've all been out there, you know, you kind of have that sense, but as you're actually driving in the driveway, you can really feel it.
Get the feeling.
Way up here at the, sort of the midpoint, the upper 1/3 of the photo, you'll see a less than healthy tree. That's Level Road. So even if you're on the 3rd floor of the existing house, you're still sort of looking up to see Level Road. So there is quite an elevational change. And this sloped face that you see projecting down from that tree that we're speaking to the actual driveway itself is all rock.
We had discussed that.
Yeah.
That's a natural barrier.
Right, it's a very natural buffer. So, Mike? One of the other items that we had discussed last month on the next picture was this driveway that we just showed is a common drive. So this is what we have when you get right past the far corner of the existing dwelling, the shared driveway that continues to the property towards the back. So we do have a shared access point, so blocking that is not an option for us. Mike? When you're leaving the driveway, here is the view that you see. Level Road has now come down from that significant slope to meet the driveway. And off to the right of the picture, behind that piece of equipment that you see, is the new approach for the new Arcola Road Bridge. Mike? This, we were up on the hill a little bit, so you could kind of get like a drone-style view. The area at the end of this paving that's in the center of the picture, right behind this sugar maple tree here, is the location that we're proposing to put the new garage. So we're using that edge of paving as our marker for the garage door side of the new garage where you'd pull into. And you can kind of see from this picture that not that far behind is the beautiful new Arcola Road Bridge, and obviously that shows you where the water line is. The abutment that you can see just peeking out over top of the gradall that's sitting there in the picture is the edge of the water. So right behind the row of evergreens and the bamboo is the actual water line of the Perkiomen. So there's our vertical cliff on the other side, so to speak. So we're on the plateau in between two pinch points as far as topography and limitations go of uniqueness within the property. Mike? We took a few shots of coming down the hill and approaching the new intersection with the bridge. This is about midpoint, maybe a third of the way up on the bridge, or on Level Road Hill. You can see the truck down below in the driveway. You can see the area here off to the right of the picture and about the midpoint. That's where the proposed garage would be. So as you're coming down, you have a very good view of that intersection from above. So the concern that was asked and put out there for us was, is there a site distance issue with placing this garage? And we don't believe there is, and a few more of these pictures will actually show you. If Michael clicks for me. Coming down the hill a few more feet, you can see as we're approaching the garage area and the intersection with the bridge. Very tiny here in the center portion of the picture, there's a little car on the bridge. As they're traveling towards us, we're traveling towards them. In the next picture, you'll see we get a little closer to the driveway entrance point, and the car gets a little closer to us. And you don't lose sight of that. So in the last picture, we're right there at the driveway entrance, and there's the little car coming across the bridge. So we didn't really lose sight of that vehicle. So I think we're pretty well covered being that far back off of the roadway with the garage placement. And I think there might be one more. Ah, yes,
Conceptual.
My attempted conceptual. So that was our visual that we wanted to create for you. So you kind of had a more colored and artist-styled. Mind you, I'm only an engineer, I'm not an artist. Please forgive me. But wanted to give you a little bit better picture than a flatline, black and white 2D rendering. So that's our concept there, and I think as we had discussed at the previous meeting, we do meet quite a few of the criteria for natural hardship with respect to the configuration of the property and where we're left with to try and work in a detached garage on the property. So that's kind of my wrap on it. Be glad to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
The other property, I can't get it in my
Yeah,
head where that is.
Your mic.
Oh.
Yeah. Is it the one here that says Donald J. Nielsen? Is that the one?
No, it's the one behind, I believe it says Rachel McKay.
Rachel McKay.
Yes, that's
Okay.
the one that we are shared with.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So that's, you go back past the front of the house then and around?
Yes, she drives in and out, you know, in front of the house to get out to Level Road and
Oh,
then
okay.
back by the house to get to her property behind.
Oh, that's sort of strange.
Well, as we said last month, this 6.5 acre chunk was actually part of her 20-acre piece many, many years ago, and
Okay.
4 or 5 times removed owners divided it up.
Now, this other property down here, where's the access to that?
That is
Nielsen.
actually an Upper Providence access point.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Patty, do you have any questions? No. Bob? Anything you want to, Mr. Hart?
No, I don't think so. Again, I think, as you know, what we're working through is the approval of the variance according to the wording of the variance ordinance.
Correct.
And I think you kind of clearly stated that you think it fits in due to the irregularity and unique lot size and shape.
That's the extreme hardship that Keith referred to last time,
Correct.
so, right.
And there is no other, and I think we kind of worked through this last week too, because of the, even though it's 6.5 acres, there's really nowhere else that this could.
Right, we're at about 3/4 of an acre on that plateau between the drop-off for the river and the vertical face of the stone there at Level Road.
And I think we're all aware of what the house looks like. That will fit in with the residents and will not alter the local neighborhoods.
Oh, no.
The
no.
character of
We're-
the-
You know, we're planning on natural materials for the outside, just like is shown in the conceptual. Probably some board and batten or natural wood exterior, natural stone.
And finally, I think we did talk about our safety concerns, and you are running, I believe, the electric underground and then up into the attic and then back down to perhaps 5 feet above the level, or I think you talked about possibly doing a roll down,
Yeah,
and that won't be an issue.
no, exactly. We don't want exposed wires out there just from an aesthetic standpoint and a safety standpoint.
Thank you, that's all.
How are the wires going to be again? How are the,
Into the,
to the garage?
right at the, Mike, if we could find a picture of the driveway. Perfect. There we go. The pole, we have underground conduit already run through this
Okay,
driveway where we can pull electrical feed for a sub panel and run it through the grass, down in and into the building itself, the proposed detached garage, take it up into the attic portion, the storage area,
Okay.
so that it's well above the floodplain with sub-panels and protection, and then we'll drop all the wiring back down to feed
It's
outlets.
grandfathered
So
down
we're gonna
underground.
kind of go up to come down.
Okay.
Is there a question then, John, about what we discussed about the electric being underground, not being allowed in the new ordinance?
But I think you've already asked for a variance with respect to the electric. So that's part of what's already been considered. 'Cause
Yes.
There is another provision in the floodplain ordinance that says that utilities, which would include electric, not be underground, but the site already has underground utilities. So that's something we're going to have to consider, whether that's another bit of uniqueness about the property at this point that might affect how we view that variance. I mean, there's already a request asking for a variance or waiver with respect to the Section 6 portions of granting the overall variance for the siting. So it's really not an additional request, since there's already a request for a variance there. I have a question, just to orient myself to, if we go back to the picture of the garage. This is because I wasn't here last month. I assume the doors that are supposed to open in the event of a flood, or those would be on either end of the garage? In other words, these are the garage doors that the vehicles will come in, but on the other side, in essence, the right and left side is where those rolling automatic doors are going to be?
Yeah, we're referring to those sides of the garage as the gable ends, because they have the roof peaks showing. So, yes, they would be in those ends because that's the flow of water.
My understanding is that, obviously, they're electrically controlled, but then there's also a generator on the property, and they would be connected to that as well?
Yes. In the very first picture, actually, we could go to the second picture. There we go. You see the stone temple on the right-hand side of the photo there. That is actually where all of our HVAC, generator equipment, and the like is all stored and protected above floodplain level. So we have everything elevated there, and then it's all backfed into the primary residence.
But isn't some of it stored in the garage that's currently attached to the house, the well pump, et cetera?
Yes.
So not all of it is?
All the well pump is, well, yeah, there was no way to put all of that
Right.
HVAC equipment inside. But the well pump, the electrical panels, a sub-panel, that is all already in the second floor of the
Current garage.
attached garage, yes.
I have a couple of questions. I'm just curious. Mr. Gambone, did your mother actually get to live here and enjoy this for a period of time? That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. I was actually an alternate at the meeting way back when you were before the board looked to do those things, and I'm glad your mother did get to enjoy that. Two questions. You do realize, and I just want some, I guess, on the record, that there will be no business conducted. This is strictly your residence. Is that correct? You got that, Paula? Okay, thank you. And we did discuss the size of the garage, and we discussed, I think Gail last time asked questions about the actual footprint of the garage and the fact you're just looking to store 2 vehicles.
Correct.
Is this the only way you feel the size of the footprint for the garage is going to work for your purpose? Or is it possible that it might be a bit smaller? That's my question.
It is the size that we think can make work, because that allows us to comfortably park 2 vehicles inside and store, lawn maintenance equipment and other small.
Where's the lawn?
Well, believe it or not, there is. We have an island.
Oh, okay.
Out there, but,
I can see there's some grass there.
Yeah. We do have some lawn to take care of, and we do have a lawnmower, although, it may be overkill, but we will mow the lawn very quickly with it. But it needs to have a home as well, and if we can slide that into the garage as well as the cars, that's our game plan. with the size that we had determined.
I guess one of the other things we had discussed, and that is also enumerated in Chapter 6, which is, again, looking for the variance, but the building, the technical side of this, as far as Chapter 6, talks about the floor being anchored, the walls, all things, marine quality. They specifically say marine quality for a number of these things, and you're well aware of that, right? Right, okay. Was there anything else, John, or Kathy, or Gail, or? I'm good.
The only question I would have, which is really just for the purpose of making as complete a record as possible, and if this came up last month, I apologize.
That's okay.
With respect to the openings that are going to be automatic, have you calculated what the ordinance says, the size of those openings compared to the square footage of the enclosed space of the garage? It's supposed to be
Yeah.
1 inch per 1 square foot.
Yes,
That-
we are right now much larger than we need to be, and we would like to make sure that we are in compliance with that. So when we bring in the building permit plan, as you know, we're not asking for variance to get away from that at all.
Okay.
But we want to make sure that we're keeping the garage itself safe, because, you know, we'll have personal effects stored in there, and that we're in compliance with what the township requires. So I would like to make sure that I have the opportunity to work with Mike as the zoning officer to make sure that all of those needs, as far as the size of the opening and the contemplation behind that calculation is met correctly.
Very good.
So,
In fact, Mike, do you have anything to add, or any questions you would like to pose?
No, I'm satisfied with this.
You're satisfied? Okay. If there are no other questions, yes, any questions from the audience?
Our audience of one.
She's good. I would like to take maybe a 5-minute recess, if we could, just to make sure we're on the same page with everyone's thoughts and questions.
Of course, it's present tonight. Okay. So the answer is yes?
The answer is
yes.
Thank you.
yes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion. Are there any other questions or any other input from anyone before we proceed? No?
No, okay.
Mr. Hart, if you would be so kind as to,
Madam Chairwoman, I believe this is a somewhat unique property. While concerned about setting a precedent, I think the particular circumstances of this property must be considered. They have met the minimum standards for a variance, in my opinion. Accordingly, I move that we approve the variances for relief from 86-401A, from 86-600.D1A, and from 86-600.D1E.
If I may offer a slight correction, last month
Yes.
it was D1B, not D1A.
I stand corrected. You're correct.
D1B.
I was reading off of
Thank
the
you.
uncorrected copy.
thank you for picking up on that. Do we have a motion? At this time, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Patricia, second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I will abstain.
Okay, Kathy abstained. So our motion carries, and I guess the only thing is, John, if you would
Right.
just give a mini summary
Yeah,
here.
I guess our understanding is this would relate to the opinion that has to be written on this. With the exception of the variances requested and granted tonight, the understanding is that all of the other requirements of Chapter 6 and the floodplain ordinance, and of course the building code in general, can be complied with, and they will be assumed to be complied with in carrying out the final application for building permit and completing the structure.
Correct.
That understanding, I think we're fine.
All right.
And I want to thank you for a great presentation. I think it's fascinating what our engineers can do today. This tonight was very, very helpful to me. I really have no idea. I've not been near the property, so I really felt that was very helpful. I wish you the best.
Come down, get a before feel, and
Well,
I
I
appreciate the after feel.
wish you all the best with it, and I know Lower Providence Township is very proud of what you have done and what you will continue to do with this property. It's amazing, though, the engineering skills that can handle the water flow. So thank you very much for a good presentation and for coming back and allowing us to look at this in light of the new ordinance. We appreciate it.
We appreciate the board's time. Thank you very much.
Good luck with it, though.
Right.
Thank you very much. There being no other business, I'll call, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Kathy, second. All in favor?
Aye.
And we will plan to see you next month. Thank you very much, everyone.